to Loot Gaming from Loot Crate. It's a monthly subscription service. The gaming crate right now is $26.95 a month. You get $60 plus of retail value goods in there. Everything's licensed. Most of this is exclusive. You never know what you're going to get because it's a mystery. Check it out at lootcrate.com. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Like we do every year at PAX, we like to get away from all the big AAA stuff and go explore some of the indie stuff. So in this one, we're really going to be getting deep into the dungeons and exploring some of those games with that sort of a feel and theme. First off, what do we got?
First up on our list is Children of Morta. So Children of Morta is from Bit Studios. Twin stick shooter that kind of felt like a cross between Hyper Light Drifter and Gauntlet.
So you say, when you say twin stick shooter, I mean, it's got the movement, it's isometric, and you are like, controlling the direction you go, but it's pretty intuitive with the like mouse and keyboard type controls. We were using a controller. The combat really, to me, felt like a almost meatier version of Hyper Light Drifter. It was really satisfying.
Lots of different character options to choose from, unique special moves and stuff like that, upgrades.
And that kind of gave it the Gauntlet feel because you're also sort of doing the co-op gaming, and you've got multiple different classes. You had the bow and arrow.
Yep.
I'm running around with sword and shield. Now this game is pretty much all action. I mean, you can almost safely say it's all action, almost all action.
The majority of the levels are procedurally generated, so it's always going to be different when you sit down and touch them. But they did say that there was also then specific rooms that they programmed in for like puzzle solving and the likes like that. So
and the other thing they said about it was that it's going to have 4 chapters, and each chapter is going to have like a big boss battle at the end. So if you want to sit down with co-op, hang out, have a beer, play through 4 chapters, that's what you got.
A solid co-op to like sit with your buddy and play through.
All right, so you checked out Survive By.
So, hang on, I had to write this down because of how many different words that the lady threw at me. So, Survive By is a MMO bullet hell roguelike.
Is that all?
Roguelike, procedurally generated, permadeath, bunch of other stuff. So, basically, Survive By is kind of that same feel of like Touchdown when you have the multi-directions to like shoot from and everything. But
fantasy theme, right?
Yeah, it's fantasy themed. You have like 6 classes to choose from, or maybe 8, I can't remember. So you pick your characters and they start launching a room, and whoever joins that room in the next 90 seconds is the team that you're with. So they randomly pair you together with a group of people, and then you have to survive this like bullet hell onslaught together, which is neat. And so the what I was talking about, they were like, well, yeah, you could do this by yourself. It's really, really difficult to do by yourself, but you totally could. But the main idea here is like co-op. Right. So, sink or swim together, and as you progress on, it gets crazier and crazier, and pretty soon there's just bullets and fireballs filling up the entire screen, stuff like that. But it's neat because it's got that whole connectivity to the rest of the group playing and stuff like that. You're not just going to be stuck with, that random asshole that can't play with you, can't play properly. Every time you die, you get a little card for your character, and those cards grant special abilities and upgrades and stuff that then subsequent lives you can use those cards to soup up your character. So like the more you die, the more you have at your disposal to make your characters cooler.
So does that mean dying's a reward, or is it trying to be like a roguelike but then still allow you to get something back when you die?
Yeah, it's something that gives you something back when you die, because they want to make it permadeath, but they don't want to feel like, fuck, I just spent 6 hours playing this character and then they died and now I'm stuck with nothing, like a hardcore Diablo or something like that.
So we'll call it a rage pacifier. All right, Moonlighter was an interesting game because it takes elements from several different games. When I first looked at it, I thought Binding of Isaac. You've got these rooms that are very similar, isometric, very Zelda, I guess, 1 Link to the Past style as far as gameplay goes. But that's not what the game is. You own a shop, and you moonlight by going into all these different dungeons and grabbing really valuable items and then bringing those items back to the shop to sell. So the deeper you get into the dungeon, the more valuable the items are, but the more dangerous it gets, and when you die, you lose everything. So it's another one of these roguelites. It doesn't have permadeath, but you die, you're immediately kicked out of the dungeon and you lose all your stuff. So the objective is to get as deep as you can and try not to get too greedy, and then take everything back and sell it in the store. There's several different dungeons that get, I guess bigger as it goes along. Another thing about this, it's also procedurally generated. So I'm seeing kind of that kind of theme. I'm not sure if that's
been like the one of the big buzzwords this time around, is everyone's like, it's procedurally generated, it's procedurally generated, which is cool because that means more replayability.
Right. So after you get the whole Zelda Binding of Isaac thing, you come back to your shop, and then you get sort of a Harvest Moon type thing where people come in and they buy stuff. Now, in order to win in this section of the game, you have to price things right, and you can judge it by their facial expressions, like they smile or they frown. You're like, oh, I priced it incorrectly. And also, you can build in scarcity by, saying like, look, I've always got these items on the shelf. I've saturated the market. Let's switch it out with some new items, and you sort of, try to keep the people in the village happy. But for me, it was really about running in there, going to bed, waking up at nighttime, and running into the dungeon.
So does it feel like two separate games melded into one, or do they all kind of coincide nicely with each other?
Well, yeah, it's two separate pieces, but it does sort of make a whole game. But yeah, it really is kind of Harvest Moon and Binding of Isaac thrown together and with some extra dynamics. But the combat was also really well done and fun. All right, guys, so check out all the links in the description. Let us know what you think of these games and the coverage. Be sure to buy a shirt. This is an oldie but a goodie. Get a shirt.
Like this one.
Or I'll melt down all your metal and smelt it into something awful.
Isn't that guy a little short to be a stormtrooper?